You've done it again. That important project sits untouched. Your workout clothes remain folded in the drawer. The healthy meal plan has been replaced by takeout for the third time this week. We've all been there, caught in the gap between what we intend to do and what we actually accomplish. I've spent years studying why discipline feels so elusive for most of us. The truth? Only about 8% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions, according to research in the European Journal of Personality. But here's the good news. Discipline isn't some magical personality trait that some people are blessed with at birth. It's a skill, one that can be developed through specific strategies and consistent practice. Let me share something I call the discipline paradox. Every time you face a choice requiring discipline, you're essentially navigating a battle between your present and future self. Your present self craves comfort and immediate gratification, while your future self desires growth and long-term rewards. This isn't just philosophical, it's neurological. Immediate rewards trigger dopamine release in your brain's reward center, while future benefits require activation of your prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for planning and self-control. A fascinating 2014 study in the Journal of Consumer Psychology discovered something critical. People who viewed their future selves as an extension of their current identity made significantly more disciplined choices. This reveals something profound about discipline. It's not about forcing yourself to suffer now for later gain. It's about aligning your current actions with your deeper values. Now let's talk about your environment. I cannot overstate how much your surroundings influence your behavior. James Clear's research in Atomic Habits confirms what I've seen repeatedly with my clients. Willpower is no match for the environment. Consider this. A study from health psychology showed that people who simply kept fruit visible on their countertops weighed an average of 13 pounds less than those who didn't. That's not willpower. That's strategic environment design. What does this mean for you? Remove friction from positive habits. Lay out those workout clothes the night before. Add friction to negative habits. Delete social media apps from your phone. Use visual cues like progress charts or reminder notes. Create commitment devices like scheduling workouts with friends. Your physical space either supports or sabotages your discipline. A cluttered desk makes focused work harder, while a prepared gym bag makes exercise more likely. Let's dive into the science of habit formation because discipline becomes infinitely easier when behaviors become automatic. Forget the popular 21 days to form a habit myth. A study published in the European Journal of Social Psychology found that habit formation takes anywhere from 18 to 254 days, with an average of 66 days. This explains why so many people give up too soon. They're operating on faulty information about how long real change takes. Every habit follows what scientists call the habit loop. A cue triggers behavior, a craving motivates it, the response becomes the actual habit, and finally, the reward completes the cycle. By understanding this loop, you can engineer habits that stick. If you want to read more, place a book on your pillow as your cue. Anticipate learning something interesting to create that craving. Read for just 10 minutes as your response, and track your progress or discuss what you learned for your reward. Start with what I call atomic habits. Tiny behaviors that require minimal motivation, but create a foundation for larger changes. One of the most powerful discipline abilities I've encountered in my research is something psychologists call implementation intentions. Vague goals produce vague results. Dr. Peter Gallwitzer's research shows that people who form implementation intentions, specifically stating "I will do X when Y happens," are 2 to 3 times more likely to achieve their goals than those who simply state what they want to accomplish. Instead of saying "I'll exercise more," try "I'll walk for 30 minutes after breakfast on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday." This specificity eliminates decision fatigue and creates a clear action plan. In fact, a study in the British Journal of Health Psychology found that participants who wrote down when and where they would exercise were 91% more likely to follow through compared to the control group. Now let me address what I call the motivation myth. Many people wait for motivation before taking action, but discipline works in reverse. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Stanford psychologist B.J. Fogg's research confirms what I've observed repeatedly. Motivation is highly variable and unreliable for sustained behavior change. Instead of waiting to feel like it, commit to a minimum viable action, the smallest version of a habit that still delivers value. Can't face a full workout? Commit to just 5 minutes. Don't want to write that report? Start with just one paragraph. This approach leverages what psychologists call the Zeigarnik effect, our brain's tendency to remember unfinished tasks. Once you start, you're more likely to continue. I've found that external accountability dramatically increases follow-through for almost everyone. A study by the American Society of Training and Development discovered that people are 65% more likely to complete a goal after committing to someone else, and their success rate jumps to 95% when they have specific accountability appointments. Consider working with a coach or mentor, joining a mastermind group, using commitment contracts like stick.com, or scheduling regular check-ins with an accountability partner. The social cost of letting others down often provides stronger motivation than personal disappointment. Here's something crucial I need to share about discipline. Perfection is its worst enemy. Research from Syracuse University found that people who followed an all-or-nothing approach to goals were significantly more likely to abandon them after a setback compared to those who anticipated and planned for lapses. This is why I recommend developing what I call a recovery protocol, a specific plan for getting back on track after inevitable slips. Practice self-compassion because research shows it improves resilience. Analyze without judgment by asking what triggered the lapse. Make a concrete plan to restart and begin again immediately, no matter how small. Remember, discipline isn't about perfect performance. It's about consistent recommitment. Let's talk about energy management because willpower fluctuates throughout the day based on physical and mental energy. A landmark study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology demonstrated that willpower functions like a muscle that fatigues with use, a concept called ego depletion. This means you need to schedule important tasks during your peak energy hours, protect your sleep quality because sleep deprivation decimates self-control, use nutrition to stabilize blood sugar and energy levels, and incorporate short breaks to prevent decision fatigue. Even brief physical activity breaks can restore mental energy and improve executive function, which are the brain processes critical for self-discipline, according to research published in Cognition. I want to share something Harvard Business School researcher Teresa Amabile discovered that changed how I approach discipline. Her work revealed that the single biggest motivator is making progress in meaningful work, what she calls the progress principle. Tracking progress visibly creates a feedback loop that reinforces discipline. Break large goals into smaller milestones, create visual progress indicators, celebrate small wins systematically, and review progress regularly. Apps like Strides, Habitica, or simple paper trackers can make progress visible and satisfying, triggering dopamine release that reinforces disciplined behavior. Finally, let me share what might be the most powerful discipline strategy I've encountered: the identity factor. Research from the University of Illinois found that people who viewed behaviors as expressions of their identity, saying, "I'm a healthy person," rather than thinking of isolated actions like, "I need to exercise," maintained those behaviors significantly longer. Ask yourself, what would a disciplined person do in this situation? Then act accordingly. Over time, these aligned actions reshape your self-concept, making discipline feel less like a force and more like authentic self-expression. Discipline isn't about white-knuckling your way through life or denying yourself pleasure. It's about creating systems that align your daily actions with your deeper values and long-term aspirations. The next time you face that moment of choice between what's easy and what's important, remember that discipline is a skill you're developing, not a test you're failing. Each small choice builds the neural pathways that make the next choice easier. As author Octavia Butler wisely noted, first, forget inspiration. Habit is more dependable. Habit will sustain you whether you're inspired or not. Your future self is being shaped by today's choices. With these evidence-based strategies, you can build the discipline bridge that connects who you are today with who you want to become tomorrow.